to start, and we're going to weave some ideas together regarding peace, regarding our desires. So let's start first by sitting up. And if you've already joined me in that sound of Om earlier, hopefully you're already feeling that transition into a more peaceful condition. And let's focus on breathing in a very specific way in which we can watch the breath and we can also watch nature breathing our bodies. So the next inhalation that you take as you're sitting tall with a long spine, really let yourself fill, let the diaphragm do its work. So you're putting a little effort into this. And then on the exhalation, just begin to release and let go. But on the next inhalation, put no effort into that breath and just watch your body fill. So it requires a little bit of restraint on your part to want to take that inhale on your own. Watch the body do it itself. So then letting the exhalation result after that inhale. And then again, watching the body fill. Almost like nature is pushing that air back into your body. And exhaling. And continuing like this. Now, if you're really watching that breath on the inhalation and you're not putting effort there, you'll probably notice that your body is filling from the belly up. Not fighting the inhalation, but allowing it to happen. And maybe you've noticed that the letting go process occurring on the exhalation might need a little bit more of your effort. But then there's a letting go in which, when we let go, the breath fills our bodies. Life controls and takes over and breathes this body. And maybe even more completely than you would have if you weren't thinking about it or trying. So now we're going to begin our practice with our mantra, Shiva mantra. First, you might cultivate the breath differently. So you might shift into that victorious breath. If you want to initiate it by opening the mouth and doing that fogging action, feel free. Anything to establish the breath. And to establish it, because when we start to work with the body, we'll need to be consciously working with the breath so that we don't accidentally stop breathing as we challenge the body. And so if you'd like to join me by bringing palms together, soaking in these words, and then we'll chant them in Sanskrit. I bow to the presence of the divine within, our true and highest teacher, that lives in and around us as being, consciousness, and bliss. It is ever present and radiates peace, lighting the way to transformation. Om Namah Shivaya Gurave Satchidananda Murtaye Nishprapanchaya Shantaya Niralambaya Tejase. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Now we're going to bring a Sanskrit word in that means tranquility of mind. And we'll allow ourselves to come back to this word as often as we can today. Shama. Shama. Sha comes from Shanti, peace. Ma comes from manas, mind. Shama, tranquility of mind. Now we're going to shift forward into hands and knees. And let's begin to move through a cat-cow. So inhaling, belly sinking, back sinking, head lifting, tailbone lifting. Exhaling, belly engaging, back rounding, tailbone, head shifting downward. Continue at your pace, the pace of your breath, what feels good in this body that you are expressing. And check in, moving mindfully so that every part of your breath is felt with every part of your movement. And we'll go for a few more cycles. And then let's come to a neutral spine. And separate the knees from each other. Let the big toes touch or be very close to each other. And then what we'll do from here is we'll take a deep breath in. And then as you exhale, send the hips back towards the heels like you're coming into a child's posture. You might even let the head go. And then on the inhale, rise back up. Let the head be the last to rise. You might even look forward, lifting the head. Exhaling, sending the hips back, lowering the head. Extending the arms. Inhaling, rising, and then looking forward. Now seeing if you can articulate the spine as you're here. So you might start to shift into like a cat as you lower the hips and let the head go. And then inhale, almost like you're coming into a cow, but not as much as extension, so more like a flat back looking forward. So continue this at your pace. Now we're going to go a little longer, and as we go through, maybe about a minute, we're going to invoke that word again, that shama. So you might bring this in with your breath. So on the inhale, feeling sha, shanti. On the exhale, feeling ma, manas, mind. Inhaling, tranquility, sha. Exhaling, mind, ma. One more. And we're going to meet after ma. So after full word, shama. Lowering into child's posture. He says you sink in, feeling the body, experiencing the breath. And I'm going to just read to you that little section from Ernest Wood's book, Concentration, in which he says, life is serious. You cannot afford to play with your destiny and palter with your principles. A mind divided against itself can spoil both outward and inward success. Success in meditation will not come until you disband the conflicting host of desires that perpetually carry on their civil wars within you, and thus come to be at peace with yourself. Then that peace within will put you at peace with all the world. You can be at peace with the world even when the world is not at peace with you. Now we're going to start to find some more extension in the arms. So if the arms are kind of relaxed, begin to lift the palms and bring the fingertips down, as if maybe you're trying to straighten the arms and send the elbows upwards, but you're keeping the arms straight. So you have fingertips pressed down, and as you're lifting the arms like this, you can sense on the side bodies under the shoulders, muscles that tend to be quite tight. So taking 5 more breaths as you keep pressing down into fingers with straight arms, lifting palms. Now we'll take 5 more breaths. On the inhale, you might hear sha. On the exhale, ma. And you can elongate those vowels to match the breath. Now let's begin to lift the head and look forward, still having fingertips down, palms up, arms lifted. And let's walk hands over to the right side of the mat, keeping fingertips pressed down, feeling the lengthening of the left side body, especially from the shoulder, right under the shoulder, down into the waist. And we'll walk hands over to the left. Again, fingertips down, arms lifted. Feeling right under that outer right shoulder, down into the right waist. Spreading through the back. One more deep breath. And let's come to center and rise up into a table posture so we can have hands come down now. We're going to change over into a forward fold. Before we get there, let's find downward facing dog. So rolling over toes, lifting knees, sending hips back, maybe finding a little motion here. About 3 more deep breaths as you explore. We'll look forward and then float the feet forward, top of the mat. Once you get there, separate the feet to the edges of the mat. And we're going to move a little bit in a forward fold, switching from forward fold to squatting. So you just go as low as you can, but keeping the heels down. So what we'll do is take a deep breath in. And on the exhale, bend the knees, lower the hips, and start to lift the heart. So first time around, we'll linger for a few breaths inside of this squat. Then we're going to change it. So from here, once you establish it, bring the hands down and then lift the hips again, taking a big breath out, we'll say, for the first one. And then we're going to change the position of the breath in relation to the body. So we'll take an inhale, come to your squat, look forward, and then exhale, come back into your forward fold. Inhale, squatting, lifting the heart. Exhale, lowering, lifting the hips. And we'll bring back this word shama. Inhaling, sha. Exhaling, ma. Continuing this tranquility, peace of mind. We'll say just a few more. And then we'll meet in our forward fold. Releasing, letting go here. Maybe hands to blocks or hands to the mat. letting the feet be to the edges of the mat, though, so you have some distance between, and that'll get a little bit more space for the trunk to shift into. Let the head go completely. Maybe even bring the chin inward towards the collarbone, and then release. And draw it in and release. And then eventually let go of the upper body while the lower body supports. About 3 more deep breaths. Take a clearing breath out through the mouth. And now we'll start to slowly unroll the spine. So let's bend the knees. Keep the head uncontrolled. Begin to lift from the lower spine to the middle, to the upper. And once you've risen, you'll probably feel a strong desire to take the shoulders and move them back. So go ahead and take a few of these. We'll let the shoulders come forward and round, and then we'll take the shoulders back. That might turn into circles. And then we'll just kind of release the arms, give them a little bit of a swing, and step the feet so that they're hips distance apart. Make sure that they're hips distance, because we're going to be doing some balancing. Now, these are little activities that actually come from the same author, Earnest Wood, little activities that he recommends after meditation, for example, to get the body going. So what we'll do is take the arms alongside the body, palms facing the thighs, shoulders back and down. On the next inhalation, reach the arms upwards, but don't shift the arms so that you're changing the rotation of the shoulders. You're going to keep the rotation here so that once the arms rise, the tops of the hands touch. And then what you'll do is lift up the heels. So you'll start balancing on the toes. On the exhalation, lower the heels, lower the arms down. So very simple. Inhaling, reaching arms up, lifting heels. Exhaling, lowering. Inhaling, sha. Exhaling, ma. Continuing. Now, as you're going through this movement and this breath, let your eyes relax so much that you start to look past the wall in front of you or past the window in front of you as far away as you can. So it's like daydreaming in your eyes. It's that kind of blurry vision, eyes soft, eyes relaxed. That soft gaze. Continuing sha, shanti. Exhaling ma, manas. Inhaling peace, tranquility. Exhaling of the mind. About 5 more cycles. And after you've gone through those 5, we'll have the arms resting alongside the body. Finding a few deep breaths. So now we'll be taking specific side bends. So we're going to keep the right hand trailing down the leg and just relaxing this right arm. Finding a side bend to the right, taking the left arm and then taking hand towards the armpit. Hand towards the armpit. So that left arm is going to bend. And you'll just kind of release into this little side motion. Take another deep breath. Inhaling, coming to center. On the exhale, lowering that to the left side and picking up the right arm to the right armpit. Letting the left arm hang loose. Now we'll coordinate this with the breath. So in the next inhale, rise to center. On the exhale, bending to the other side. Inhaling center. Exhaling other side. Inhaling. Taking this at your pace. We'll take one more to the left. And then we'll be meeting in center. So the next part is we can have hands to hips or we can kind of just leave them alongside the body. We're going to be taking little jumps. So making sure again that the feet are hip distance apart. And the idea is that we'll be lifting the right leg, say. So you lift the right leg and then before you put the right foot down to switch legs, you'll be hopping your way through. So you're going to lift the left foot and plant the right foot. And then we'll just continue like this. So now as you're going through, checking in, it's hard to do on a cushiony mat, so you could step off of it if needed. But as you're going through, see if you can bring shama back in, even as the body and the balance is being challenged. Making sure the core is engaged as you're going through. You can go faster if you'd like. We're just going to go another 30 seconds. shama. And that's our 30 seconds. So let's stand at the top of the mat, separate the feet to the edges of the mat. Take a few deep breaths. Let's take the hands behind the back, interlace the fingers, squeeze the shoulders back, look up. Exhale, fold forward. Four deep breaths. Next inhalation, rise back up. Release the arms, bring the feet hips distance apart. And we're going to take a wide stance. So you can take left foot to the back of the mat, or depending on how your technology is set up, you can go the other way. But once we have the feet apart, we'll take the arms to a T. And just being in the star position for a moment. Making sure you have good distance between the feet so that maybe the ankles are almost right underneath the wrists. Let's come into a warrior B. Shift the right toes to face forward. Left toes can keep facing the side of the mat. The next exhalation, sink into the right knee without shifting the trunk. So keep the trunk upright. And then turn the head to gaze past the right fingertips in that soft gaze, focusless gaze. Take the shoulders back, lower them down the back. Maybe you're ready to increase the distance between the feet, then you can heel toe that right foot forward. Now just be mindful of the trunk. So check in and see, does it feel like the trunk is being pulled forward over the right leg? If so, you need to resist that and lift the spine upward so the crown of the head is going up, the heart is lifted, the trunk is fairly neutral. Now from here we'll shift into a sky archer. So straighten the right leg. Take the right arm up, and today we'll take left fingers to the right wrist and pull the right arm up and over towards the back, like towards the back of the mat. Feeling length all through the right arm, right side body, down into the waist. Our legs are straight now. Left fingers holding right wrist. One more breath. Bring the arms to a T. And now we'll come into extended triangle posture. So make sure you have right foot facing forward, left toes facing the side of the mat, but you might turn the left toes inward just slightly, maybe an inch. Then with straight legs, reach out with the right arm. So now we're letting the trunk be pulled. And then exhale, lower the right hand to the right leg, maybe to the inside of the leg. Inhale, lift the left arm upwards and turn the head to look up past the left fingertips. That left thumb will be in view. Maybe you'll let the hand go further down the leg towards the foot if you can keep the trunk over the right leg. If that's not possible, you'll just want to keep that hand a little further up. If you can get the foot, grasp the big toe with the right peace fingers. Remembering to use blocks whenever you find an opportunity. This is a good spot for a block on the inside or outside of the right foot or leg. Another deep breath. Look down at the right foot. Inhale, rise up to standing, arms to a T. Let's just shift into the other side. So turn now the left toes to the back of the mat, so long as you're facing the same direction as me, otherwise you're reversing all of this, right? And then right foot facing the side of the mat. Keeping the trunk lifted, legs are straight for now. Then we'll find warrior B, lunging into the left knee. Turning the head to look past the left fingertips. Shoulders back and down. If the arms are getting tired, flip the palms up. Maybe 2 more breaths here. Maybe bringing those sounds in. Shama. And then we'll straighten the left leg. Left arm is going to reach up, right fingers to the left wrist, pull the left arm up, and then start to pull it back as you come into what kind of feels like a side bend, but we're on a bit of an angle here. Feeling a pull down into the waist. Two more breaths. And we'll bring the arms to a T. We'll find extended triangle posture. So reach out with the left arm, take the trunk with you, and then lower the left hand down to the left leg. Right arm reaches upwards. Legs stay straight. Start to turn the head to look up past the right thumb. And that soft, peaceful gaze. Letting the left hand lower so long as you can keep the trunk over the left leg. Three more breaths. Feeling the strength and the peace all at the same time. And we'll look down at the left foot. Inhale, rise up to standing, arms to a T. From here, release the arms down and then turn the toes out. So still having a wide stance here. Usually when we're turning the toes out, we know we're about to sink into those bent knees. So go ahead and start to bend the knees. Bending the knees. Taking the arms and reaching them upwards so the tops of the hands touch. Exhale, lowering the arms down. As we did before, but now the legs are in a more challenging position. So inhaling, sha, tranquility, peace. Exhaling, ma, manas, mind. Few more. Fully devoted to this notion. So that nothing else inside of you is competing against this notion that the mind can be at peace. And then we'll be taking the arms out, bending the elbows, letting the palms face forward, and taking the arms like the elbows are trying to reach back. Maybe lowering the elbows slightly, feeling the shoulder blades in the back. Taking 5 deep breaths in a more still position, thinking on shama. We'll say 2 more breaths. We'll keep the legs like this. Allow for this challenge to happen. And now we'll take a side bend to the right. So we'll lower the right forearm to the right thigh. Now let's start by taking the left hand to the armpit like we had before. So we're going to take, say, 2 or 3 breaths with this position of the arms for the side bend. Left hand to left armpit, elbow reaching upwards. Now we'll inhale, come to center, and then exhale, switching into the other side. Forearm down, right hand to right armpit, lifting that right elbow. Inhaling, rising, another side bend, but this time we'll take right forearm to right thigh, lift the left arm straight up and over. Now, as we're in this challenging position, consider that the body is an external part of your environment, not the internal. Going deep within yourself, sensing that there's an innermost place, and that is where we feel true peace. It's not in the body itself. Going further inward as you take 3 more breaths here. Internally feeling peace. As deep within as you can go. Inhale, come to center. Keep the legs bent. This is the last segment. Then switching to the other side. Left forearm down, right arm up and over. Going within, still there. In this external position, maintaining an internal position of peace. One more breath. And inhale. Rise up. Straighten the legs once you've risen. Turn the toes inward. Take the hands behind. Interlace the fingers. Squeeze the shoulders back. Look up. Exhale. Fold forward over the legs. Release the head down. Maybe a few motions with the head so that you're taking the chin closer to the collarbone and then further. And then we're going to release the arms. So as you're here, start to roll the feet so that you can put the palms down on the mat and start to roll to the outer edges of the feet to stretch the ankles, and then roll to the inner edges of the feet. So you're just shifting from left to right side of the feet, but opposite ways, right? So that you're going towards the inner feet with both of the feet, and then towards the outer feet, maybe lifting the big toes and parts of the sole of the foot and heel. And just shifting through a couple more times like this. And then just releasing and letting go a little further so that maybe you can have the arms resting somewhere. You know, maybe you have them on blocks, or you just have the hands down, but see if you can let the head go. Maybe the elbows can bend. Take 5 deep breaths. Letting yourself release in this posture. Okay, let's start to rise. Bring the hands down, straighten the arms. Walk the hands to the front of the mat so that you can have the hands around the right foot. Bring the left knee down, top of the left foot down. Keep the left knee far back behind the hip, and then rise up. So once you lift the trunk, you can adjust and heel toe the right foot forward so that the knee is far behind, and you're starting to feel a stretch in the left thigh, left quadricep. Take the hands and maybe roll the shoulders a couple times before we take hands behind, interlacing fingers again, squeezing the shoulders back, and then letting the gaze follow upwards. Take another breath. And then release the hands. If you have blocks, they might come handy now. What we'll do is, we did this yesterday for those that were here yesterday. We're going to start to straighten this right leg. You can bring hands to hips. And then begin to take the foot far forward enough so that you've got the left knee and left hip lined up, and then flex the right foot. So we're going to start from this position where we're up, starting upright. The foot is flexed. If you need some cushion underneath the knee, you can roll over the side of the mat or bring a blanket underneath the knee. And then we'll start to hinge forward, leading with the heart. So take the heart forward, keeping the spine long, so not collapsing in the trunk. And then see if you can go a little deeper. So maybe if you've got blocks, hands can come to blocks. You can also have hands to leg, but maybe you don't want so much pressure on the knee. And then maybe eventually hands can find the mat. We're going to fold into this, taking deep breaths. And what we'll do is we'll be here for a little bit. So let's say, I know we'll be here at least a minute, but as you're here, see what this turns into. So this might turn into, for example, half-seated splits where the right leg is in the same position, but the left sitting bone comes down to the left hip. So this will look different for everybody. That's my intention, because we are essentially an individual, though we are part of the group of humanity, but we develop individually, we evolve individually. And so I want it to be whatever feels right to you. So you might even come to your bottom at some point and come into head to knee posture, Janu Shirshasana. You might even come into position with the left foot outside of the left hip. But being so aware of the body and of your ability right now in this moment to find that place that you can go and benefit from, and yet still remain with this tranquility of mind. Another option is a side splits, of course. So you can just see, what is it? Now we're in our first minute. We're going to be here at least another minute. This is our second minute. Take about 3 more breaths. Now we're going to take this into 3 full minutes. So we have a few more breaths left, but you might want to totally deactivate into this now. So if you feel like you can just let the head go, let the arms go, maybe around the back, and just let yourself release in. About 1 more breath. And we'll start to rise out of this and meet where we started this little segment. So you can bring the right foot down, the left knee down, and we'll have hands to hips. So we're going to switch sides. So right from here, we'll have hands down around the right foot. Roll over the back toes to lift the knee. Step the left foot up, step the right foot back. Come down to the right knee. Take the right knee back behind the hip. And then rise up, maybe starting with hands to hips, sinking into the left knee. Feeling the right thigh lengthen. Bring the chin in so that the neck is long. It's not a full tuck, but just a gentle drawing in of the neck, of the chin. Now we'll take the hands behind once again. Interlace the fingers. Squeeze the shoulders back, look upwards. And on the next exhalation, come back to neutral with the spine. Release the hands alongside the body. We're going to take hands to hips actually, and then begin to push into the left foot so we can come to the alignment of the right hip and the right knee, creating a vertical shin, and then extending straight left leg forward. Then we'll flex the left foot. And of course, if you're super, super tight here, you can always bend the knee, but keep the flexion of the foot. So toes looking up, then begin to send the nice and straight trunk forward. It's hinging from the hip crease at the top of the leg. And then begin to explore and see where you're going to go. And most likely you'll find the same thing that you found on the other side, but if you're imbalanced, you might find that something else is going to help. So now we'll start in about 2 breaths or so. We'll start those 3 minutes up. So now our first minute begins. So this is our first minute, now shifting into the second. And still, our minds are focused on tranquility of mind. Focus on shama. Internal peace. And that was our second minute. So we're still here. Noticing as you've been meditating through our practice today on shama, tranquility of mind, that the tension inside is less, it's dissipating, it's not here. Now we're going to take this last few section of this posture by relaxing the head and letting go. And that's our third minute. So now we'll start to rise up. And let's reverse out of this. So bringing the left foot down. We have the right knee down. Just bring the hands to the hips. Be here for a moment. And then bring hands down around the left foot. Take the left foot back. Let's meet in a child's posture for a few breaths. So separate the knees and release the hips down. Forehead resting. And allowing yourself to sink and relax. Hey, you guys, could you just lower just a couple notches?
Stop it again.
Yeah, just lowered a couple notches. I don't know if this is getting picked up. All right, take a deep breath in and out through the mouth. Let's rise to table so we can switch over to seated. Cross the ankles. Sit up tall. And I want to make sure we work with the neck, but let's take a twist first. So we're going to take left leg forward, right foot plants. Take the foot in as far inward as you can towards the thigh, but if that starts to collapse the spine, then take that foot forward towards the foot. Right hand behind, fingers face back. Inhale, lift the left arm up. Exhale, left elbow outside the knee. Get tall and push into the left arm, or push the left arm into the leg, more like turning the head to the right, flexing the left foot. Now, as we're here, let's bring left thumb and forefinger together to come into knowledge hand gesture. And as you turn the head to the right, 3 more deep breaths. considering that knowledge of the true self is what brings us real peace. And we'll come to center. Release the right foot. Plant the left foot. Find the right position for the left foot. Flex the right foot. Left hand behind, fingers face back, the hands fairly close. Inhale, right arm up. Exhale, right elbow outside the left knee. You got to pull the belly in to create space here. Lift the heart. Turn to the left. And then we'll bring right thumb and forefinger together. Again, considering what so many people have found is true, that knowledge of the true self is what brings us true and lasting peace. One more breath. And we'll inhale, come to center. Let's extend the legs out in front. I rarely take a forward fold from seated with legs extended. I find it extra challenging, so it looks like I've been avoiding it. So I'm going to make sure that we go there today. So we're going to sit on something if you feel like this is really difficult, or you're going to bend the knees and flex the feet. And on the next inhalation, take the arms upwards. On the exhalation, fold forward, bring hands somewhere to the legs, or maybe you can grasp the big toes with the peace fingers. Find a lift in the heart on the inhale, sink in on the exhale. Now, if you'd like, I find that when I find this challenging, it really is helpful to inhale, straighten the arms, lift the heart, exhale, bend in, and release. And because this matches our practice today, as we bring this word shama in, you might go there and let that sound, let that word fill up every inhalation and every exhalation. Even if you're just folding and you're able to lower, letting that sound, that word fill up in body and breath and mind. Three more breaths. And we'll start to rise upwards. Take the forearms down, so you'll walk the hands down. Take the forearms down, and then lift the heart. The head can come back all the way or halfway. Just being mindful of the neck. And start to bring one hand down at a time to come back to seated with the ankles crossed, so we can work on the neck and then lie down and rest. So from seated, our typical little routine is what we're going to go through. So let's start by moving the head side to side. And the reason why I like to make sure we get as much of this as we can is because the neck is so important. I mean, we just know why it's important, but we tend to ignore it even with that knowledge. And today I read something like, let's see if I can actually pull it up. There's a nice little saying about the neck. So keep moving the head side to side, then you're going to bring the head to center and then start to shift the head down and up. Down and up. You are as young as your neck. That was the saying. You are as young as your neck. So now let's bring the head to center and start to take the chin forward and the chin in. So we're taking chin tucks, chin forward and in. And we're going to add something that we don't typically do, but I was reminded today that it is important. So now we're going to bring the head to neutral, and we're going to do our best to shift the chin to the left and then to the right. So we're just keeping the head in a fairly neutral position, but moving it slightly to one side and then the other. It's a little bit more difficult. It requires muscles we aren't used to using. And then we'll come to center. Okay, from here, drop the chin down. Take a deep breath in and out. And begin to roll the head in half circles over towards one side, chin down, over towards the other, down. Now you might take a big circle with the head all the way around. And then shifting in the other direction all the way around. Shake the head out. Let the face relax. And then bring the head to center. Take one ear towards the sky for just 2 breaths today. One ear towards the sky, 2 breaths. Bring the head to neutral, the other ear up. Really stretching that ear as high up as you can take it. And bring the head to center. And then come all the way down to the back, preparing for Shavasana at this time. So there's many other things that the body is ready for. So if at any time today you feel like a hip flex or hip opener or some work with the hip flexors would do, give yourself another session later today if you can, or even after class. But otherwise, we're going to come down and finding your way to whatever you need to do before you rest. So maybe you want to take spinal twists. Maybe you want to take a quick reclining pigeon. Or maybe you're simply ready to let go and release. And maybe a couple more breaths. Setting yourself up so that you can rest comfortably. So that you can now deactivate every part of the body. So that every exhalation, life pushes itself into your body and fills you up with it. And you gently let go of that, and it fills up within you again. And you gently let go of that, and life fills up within you again. Gently letting go, and life fills you once more. And as you witness this process of life moving in and out of your physical body, I'm going to offer some words for you in this final resting phase of your practice. And this comes from Light on the Path. The peace you shall desire is that sacred peace which nothing can disturb, and in which the soul grows as does the holy flower upon the still lagoons. The peace you shall desire in that sacred peace which nothing can disturb, and in which the soul grows as does the holy flower upon the still lagoons. That united spirit of life which is your only true self. The peace you shall desire is that sacred peace which nothing can disturb, and in which the soul grows as does the holy flower upon the still lagoons. United spirit of life, which is your only true self. The soul grows as does the holy flower upon the still lagoons. Before you wake up the body or parts of the mind, before you go into thoughts, come back to the word shama. Just breathing in and out. Shama. Deepening the breath. Inhaling sha. Exhaling ma. Tranquility of mind. It's required to come to lasting peace. Begin to move the hands and the feet. Maybe move the arms and the legs. Maybe bring the knees in and draw them in as you rock a little side to side. Maybe there's a short little posture you'd like to take, like a spinal twist. Maybe a breath or two on each side. And then we'll meet lying on the side, resting there for a moment. When you're ready, finding your way to seated. Okay, bringing the palms together, thumbs towards the heart center, keeping the eyes gently closed. And see if you can actually experience the sensations moving through your brain. Notice the sensation of the brain. Notice the feeling in the heart, maybe the physical heart. Now the heart center. See that the heart, the desires of the heart and of the mind have come together. Realize that they don't have to compete with each other, that they can move together as one whole. And lead you to the path of true peace. Now we're going to focus on sending this peaceful state that we've cultivated today outwards into the world. And we'll do this by chanting our closing mantra. You can join me. We'll chant Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu with that intention that all beings may experience true peace, followed by Om Shanti. Swasti Prajabhya Paripalayantam Nyayena Margena Mahi Mahisha Go Brahmanebhyah Shubhamastu Nityam Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me today. I honor the light in you that is the same light in me. Namaste.